let's go into that stage of life.
Yeah. Quite literally don't know what to do. So I put myself through school. I've always been a very hard worker, albeit I was an idiot and a hard worker for a long time. But putting myself through school, I graduated, but I had 3 jobs. I mean, I was managing an apartment complex in the college town that I went to. I was working at a bank, and I was working at a bar. And so, I did have things that I was doing, but it was still like, okay, I graduated. I'm supposed to be stepping into college. Wait, you graduate college, you're supposed to be stepping into a career at this point, right? This is when everything starts to work out and you're supposed to make a bunch of money. It's like, I don't have these job opportunities just knocking down my door. So like, I turned down something that sounded really cool. I really don't know what I'm going to do. And so there was a moment of a, existential crisis kind of going on. But I ended up walking through a mall with a friend of mine, and somebody, comes out and was like, "Hey, you ever thought about working at Abercrombie and Fitch?" and I was like, "What? I've heard of Abercrombie and Fitch." They're like, "Yeah." They're like, "Do you have a degree?" I'm like, "I just graduated. Like 2 days ago, I just graduated." They're like, "Do you have a job?" I'm like, "I have a bunch of little jobs." They're like, "Well, you could be a manager over here." And I'm like, "Let's talk, man," because that sounds like a gig than I've got now.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, man. So I ended up I ended up starting at Abercrombie and Fitch, but it's really funny because I always say everything that I get to do now started because I turned down a job at the White House for a job at Abercrombie and Fitch. Because it's one of those things, connect the dots backwards now, right?
Yeah.
But so Abercrombie and Fitch, man, I start working for them in California, opening up stores in the Sacramento area and in the Bay Area. And a bunch of things happened that would be germane to my life being what it is now. One, I worked with hundreds of people, but I made friends with quite a few. One of them, I was like, man, this girl's really cool. And we can talk about, I had a girlfriend. I'm like, she sucks. And I can tell this girl about it. And this girl's like, hey, I'm kind of dating this guy, but he sort of sucks too. And so we became friends and actually had a really good working relationship. I'm like, okay, this is one of the only girls that when she's here, I actually like want to have a conversation with her too. Right. And become friends with this girl. And we had a, good working relationship for a year. She went off to work somewhere else. And I was still working there at the time. I went to Vegas. I was competitive in mixed martial arts at that time too. And I went to Vegas with a few of my other buddies from Abercrombie, and we were there hanging out with like George St. Pierre at one of these fights, and Chuck Liddell and Mark Coleman and all these guys. And one of the guys I was with mentioned this girl we used to work with. I'm like, dude, I haven't seen that girl forever. She's really cool, man. I'm like, do you ever sell? Because I don't have her cell phone number. And the guy's like, yeah, we got her cell. I'm like, all right, cool. So I'm in the middle of MGM Grand, and I send a text message to this girl. And the first text I ever sent her was, will you marry me? And she goes, absolutely. Who is this? And I'm like, you're like, yes. I'm like, what's up? It's Matt. We haven't seen each other in a while. When I get back, man, let's just hang out. I want to catch up, like, see what you're doing. Well, I wasn't with that girl anymore. She wasn't with that guy anymore. And we have not been separated since then. So we've been together now for close to 2 decades. So
what an incredible story.
It was fantastic.
That is so cool.
So I'll tell you what, Abercrombie was worth it just for that alone, right? But also because I was determined while I was there to at least be the best version of myself while I was there. It was the only thing I could think to do. Was I was racking my brain of like, what am I going to really do for a career? This is fun, but this isn't it. What am I going to do? But I'll tell you what, I'm going to do the best job I can while I'm here. I end up serving some random guy someday and his kids, and I'm just doing the best job I can possibly do. And when we got done, he's like, hey man, I really like you. And I'm like, dude, I like girls. Like, he's like, no. He's like, I really like, you're doing a really good job. I love the way you show up. I like the vibe in here. You're one of the managers. Like, I dig this, man. He's like, I think you should maybe come to work for me. And I'm like, all right, well, who are you? He's like, well, you might not know who I am. My name is Mark Mastroff. I've started a company. It's called 24 Hour Fitness. So he's the founder and the owner of 24 Hour Fitness, which is a giant fitness chain.
Yeah, massive.
Right. So I end up going to be a manager at his flagship club in the Bay Area. So that was a huge step forward. Managed that club for a while, and in that same process, just doing the best job I could, somebody there was like, hey, you're really good. This is great. I think you need to come work for me at Stanford University.
Mm,
And that set off all of what I'm doing in what I've done in education, which has led to this. So yeah,
wow.
kind of cool, man, watching how it works. And it's all a product of literally just, all right, man, I just need to step up and do the best I can do
Hmm.
where I am right now.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. Well, and I think that's what a lot of people forget and fail to do in their 9 to 5.
yes,
Like
sir.
if you
Agreed.
gave it all that you got,
Correct.
knowing, hey, I'm not going to be here forever, but while I'm here, let me make an impact.
Bingo.
People would have opportunity. Just like you said before we jumped on, opportunity comes to those who are who are working hard.
That's right. And it's not just in work.
Hmm.
That is the same mentality. And so I look at optimizing everything I can optimize. And it's the same. I'm going to optimize at work. I'm going to optimize in the relationship with my wife. I want to optimize with my kids, right? I want to optimize my fitness, the best of
Hmm.
my health to the best of my ability. I want to optimize my financial situation. I
Hmm.
want to optimize all of the relationships in my life, right? It's all of that. And like what we say in the brotherhood, it's perfection is not possible.
Yeah.
It should always be our standard.
Hmm. It's always
Oh,
always the standard, always the goal, knowing that we have the grace and mercy that we'll never achieve it.
that's
You
right.
know?
That's right. But it's
Yeah.
never an excuse not to try to get there.
Exactly. Exactly. I that your story cracks me up so much about Abercrombie and Fitch because I don't even think my wife knows this,
Yeah.
that I was approached to come interview there. Like I don't remember how I came across, but like somebody was like, "Hey,
Yeah.
you should come interview at Abercrombie," and I was like,
Yeah.
I don't know, but I was like, all
Yeah.
right, because I didn't have anything better. Like as you said, there was
Yeah.
they approached me, I think in high school, and I
Mhm.
wore cowboy boots to the interview. Never got a call back, and I
Mhm.
followed up. They're like, "Yeah, we're gonna go a different direction." Okay,
Yep. They're like, dude, doesn't fit the
but
mold. Yeah.
nope, not at
Yeah.
all. Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
but
So it's so funny, man. So
but
funny.
similar to what you're saying, like I my first interview or podcast episode 1 where I interviewed Jesse Pimentel, he was
Mhm.
actually the guy who brought me into sales. And
Oh, very cool.
I tried to purchase a gym with him about 12 years ago, and I was giving it all that I got. I was dumb, ignorant 23-year-old at the time, and he recruited me into that. And I didn't think I'd be in sales forever. Essentially I guess I am. And, cause when you're in business, you're always in sales, but, gave it all that I got. My career skyrocketed there. And that's what happens when you're just, whatever you're doing at the time, give it all you got. And even if you don't know what your mission is in life, keep pushing ahead and keep doing the best you can, because eventually you'll find it.
Bingo. And that's the
Hmm.
thing. So you eventually what happens is you forge it.
Hmm.
I mean, that's it. Like there's the element of finding, but you find it through forging it.
Yeah.
That's really the way it works, right? It's that, and that's why we always say fire, aim, ready,
Hmm.
because you need to take that step forward first.